You know, every time you shop online, send a private message, or log into a secure account, your information stays safe. And that's not just by accident. It's the result of a really powerful mathematical concept that secures our entire digital world. Today, we're going to break down that concept, public key cryptography. So to really get why this system is such a game changer, we first need to appreciate the fundamental problem it solves. It's a question that's actually puzzled people for centuries. How can you possibly share a secret with someone for the very first time if you don't already have a secret way to communicate? You see, before the system we have now, all encryption faced this huge roadblock. It was a kind of chicken and egg problem that seemed completely impossible to solve on a global scale. In the old days, to encrypt and decrypt a message, both you and the person you're talking to needed the exact same secret key. Now, this works fine if you can meet in person and exchange that key. But how on earth would that work for the internet, where you need to communicate securely with websites and people you've never met? You can't just send the secret key out in the open. That would defeat the whole purpose. The breakthrough came from a brilliantly simple idea. What if, instead of using one shared secret key, we used two separate but mathematically linked keys? And this, right here, is the foundation of the whole system. Each person gets a pair of keys. One is the public key, which, as the name suggests, you can share with absolutely anyone. The other is the private key, which you have to guard carefully and never ever reveal. Think of them as two sides of the same coin. And here's the crucial principle that makes it all work. A message that is locked or encrypted with a public key can only be unlocked or decrypted by its matching private key. This creates a one-way street for security, and that's absolutely essential. Okay, so let's walk through how this two-key system actually builds a secure line of communication, from start to finish. First off, your computer or phone automatically generates your unique key pair. Then, when someone wants to send you a secret message, they just find your public key, which is openly available, and use it to encrypt what they want to say. That scrambled message can then be sent across the open internet, and even if it's intercepted, it's just gibberish. Only you, with your private key, can decrypt it back into its original readable form. Now, here's where things get really clever. We can use this exact same system, but just flip it around. And instead of creating secrecy, this process creates authenticity. It proves a message is truly from you and hasn't been tampered with. To create what's called a digital signature, you use your private key to encrypt a small piece of data tied to your message. Then, anyone in the world can use your public key to decrypt that signature. If it works, it proves two incredibly important things: that the message could only have been signed by you, and that the message itself hasn't been altered one bit since you signed it. So you might be wondering, how can we be so sure this works? Well, this whole system of trust, for both privacy and for authenticity, it all relies on a very specific property of mathematics. It's the reason why, even though the public and private keys are linked, you can't use one to figure out the other. This property is often called a one-way difficulty or a trapdoor function. Basically, it's a type of math problem that is very simple for a computer to do, but incredibly difficult, we're talking millions of years for modern computers, to undo, unless you have that special piece of information, which is the private key. Here's a great way to think about it. It's very easy for a computer to take two extremely large prime numbers and multiply them together. But if you're only given that massive result, trying to figure out which two original prime numbers you started with is a practically impossible task. That is the one-way difficulty that protects our data. And this isn't just some abstract math concept. Not at all. This mathematical principle is the invisible engine running silently behind almost everything you do online. I mean, think about it. Every time you see that little padlock icon and HTTPS in your browser, that's public key cryptography at work. It's what secures your banking, protects your private messages on apps like Signal or WhatsApp, verifies that the software you're downloading is legitimate, and even proves you own digital assets like cryptocurrency. The mathematical foundation of this system is incredibly strong. For all practical purposes, it is unbreakable with current technology. So if the math is so secure, where's the real risk? Well, it turns out the weak point isn't the algorithm, it's us. It's how we manage the keys. You see, the system's security depends entirely on the private key remaining private. If you lose your private key, any data that was encrypted for you is just lost forever. And if your private key gets stolen, an attacker can impersonate you and decrypt your messages. This is why securing that private key is the most critical part of the entire process. So, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Public key cryptography takes a cold, hard mathematical principle, the difficulty of reversing certain problems, and it transforms it into a foundation for global trust. It allows us to interact securely with systems and people we've never even met. And that really is the most important thing to understand. Our modern digital society, everything from commerce to private communication, is built upon this beautiful imbalance in mathematics. It's not magic, it's just math doing exactly what it was designed to do.